An oblate is a layperson who associates himself or herself with a Benedictine monastery for the purpose of their spiritual development. They play many roles in the church in terms of participating in several ministries in the church, their own parishes. You can either be a lay minister or be a member of the hospitality ministry or be a catechist, as it is. You can either come through an invitation by a fellow oblate or be recommended to join the group by one of the monks. Because most of all, in terms of your development as spiritually, oblates are able to become more spiritually aware of themselves and also to grow spiritually following the rule of Saint Benedict. Okay, well, the relationship is really both a social one and a spiritual one, mainly, because when we, as oblates, we are associates with the monastery, and therefore we, by virtue of our oblation, we join with them in liturgy, whether it's Vespers, Mass, as the case may be.
Mount St. Benedict is rooted in a 1500-year past through our patriarch, who is Saint Benedict. As a young man in Italy, he was sent to study in Rome, and he became disillusioned with the materialism and the hedonism of his day. So he left his home, he left his studies, and he went to live as a hermit in a cave in a place called Subiaco. There he took with him the Holy Scriptures, he contemplated on the true significance of life, and there he developed a type of spirituality. Later, young men grouped themselves around him, and he taught them the way that he had learned there, the way of prayer, the way of peace. Eventually, he founded a monastery at Monte Cassino, and in around 520, he wrote a rule, and that rule contains our spirituality. It's based on the Gospels, it's based on the Scripture, and that rule has come down to us 1500 years, and there are many monasteries throughout the world. Our monastery here at Mount St. Benedict has its immediate roots in Brazil. In the early 20th century, there was a threat of religious persecution in Brazil because there was an anti-clerical Freemasonry government. The abbot of Bahia in Brazil wrote to the Archbishop of Port of Spain in Trinidad, Pius Dowling, asking if the monks would be welcome to come here as a place of refuge. And once the doors were opened, on the 6th of October in 1912, 3 monks came here, and that is how monastic life started here. The first word in the rule of St. Benedict is listen. And so the word listen summarizes our spirituality. Our motto is Pax. It's a Latin word which means peace, and so that also captures the aim of the Benedictine monk, whose aim is to establish a sense of peace within himself first, with nature, with others, with God, and finally hospitality, where we are open to others, people of all faiths, all races, all creeds, all classes. And these 3 principles, listen, peace, and hospitality, can sum up our spirituality. From the very beginning, when the abbot founder from Brazil started this community, he had brought with him a few women from Brazil who had attached themselves to the Benedictine way. And together with these women and other lay people in the vicinity, they began to come to the monastery the abbot of the time, or the founder, Abbot Mayel, he started these monthly meetings where he would give conferences and lead them in a spiritual way. Basically, the oblate is a layperson who wants to capture the spirit of Saint Benedict, who may not be able to or be willing to live in a monastic community like this, but up to today we continue to have these monthly meetings where we expose these oblates to the spirituality of Saint Benedict, and they go back to their workplaces, their parishes, and they, as it were, become a leaven within the community to ignite and to allow the spirit of Saint Benedict to permeate the way of life. As Benedictine monks, we focus on Christ. So Christ is the center of our spirituality, and the Benedictine monk is one who comes apart not to forsake the world, but for the sake of the world. Because from the very beginning, people have been coming here, and we have been able to touch lives, touch hearts, even just being here. Other than that, though, we have had outdoor ministries, outreach, like in education and parishes and so on. Even as far as St. Vincent, we established a lot of the churches there. Basically, the Benedictine monk is one who lives in community under a rule and an abbot, and who desires to establish that peace within himself, with others, with nature, with God, and who ultimately is on a search for truth and for God. Well, the basic joint activity would be the monthly meeting. Other than that, we would have a time, as Sister Jean mentioned, where we come together on the feast of Saint Scholastica, and we focus on the spirituality of Saint Benedict and his sister Scholastica there. We receive new oblates into the movement, and the present oblates renew their oblation. The word oblation means offering. They offer themselves to God. In the next 5 years, I would like to see more young people involved within the oblate movement. For me, the Benedictine spirituality is so rich that we need to share it, and our young people would have a lot to learn from this type of spirituality, and the more people who are exposed to it, the greater it will be for us.